Yeah, so again, warm welcome to our follow-up webinar to the Whisperpalooza and rebranding, white labeling with Plasma Cloud. As I've mentioned, so we'll do a quick recap / introduction to rebranding, white labeling with Plasma Cloud. Then I will be doing a demo of one of the rebranding options. And then we have an open mic session where everybody can come up with questions and we go into whichever direction you're most interested in. Maybe a few words about myself. So I'm a former OpenMesh founder. I've been with OpenMesh for 7 years. Maybe some of you are familiar with OpenMesh. And I started Plasma Cloud just a few years ago to fill, on one hand, the need that OpenMesh has been filling for many years, and on the other hand, to drive it to the next level with white labeling and rebranding options. I'm the CEO at Plasma Cloud, so I'm always interested in direct contact with customers to learn about what drives you, to better understand how you interact with our products, and to improve and get us to the next level. So that's why I'm doing these sessions, to get feedback and provide information on the other side, yeah, to get us all in sync. So Plasma Cloud, for those who are not familiar with Plasma Cloud at all and may just have been introduced to it by various means, the Streakwave newsletter or something of that sort. Plasma Cloud is a cloud managed hardware company. We are cloud native, so we built our products entirely in and around cloud. These are mainly access points and switches, and I'll be going into that in a little bit. And then we have a central cloud controller that allows to manage this hardware. So in a nutshell, we provide hardware that are installed by our customers. And those are typically ranging from hospitality, retail, food and beverage, into offices and education. So there's a whole range of different businesses that we go into, not directly, but we work with third parties, so-called system integrators, installers. There are many layers and ISPs, Wi-Fi ISPs. If you're in that range, then probably Plasma Cloud is of interest to you. What sets us apart from most of the other cloud hardware providers that are out there in the Wi-Fi space is that our cloud management is priced in a way that when you buy the hardware, the cloud cost is built into the hardware. So there are no subscription fees that we charge. When you buy the hardware, the cloud fees are built into the hardware. So no hidden fees, no getting you hooked on the platform and you keep on paying. That works very differently on Plasma Cloud. But this is only one of the differentiators. Our key topic today, and there are many more, will be the white labeling. Before we go into that, quickly an overview. Here is our Wi-Fi lineup. We have a very simple product lineup, a good, better, best kind of access point lineup, mostly indoor. Our APs are also outdoor ready, but our main focus is indoor, from simple dual band APs to tri-band APs, and with the latest Wi-Fi 6E built in to support the latest Wi-Fi standards and high throughput requirements. If you're interested, I'm just glossing over this really quick because I want to get to the white labeling. If you're interested to learn more about the hardware and the capabilities, feel free to throw that in as a question that we can go through once we are in the open mic section. I love to talk about hardware, but today it's all about white labeling. So next to the access points, we also provide a line of PoE switches, again, from small to big switches, depending on the deployment, to power the APs and to have a cloud managed switch that integrates well with your access points, that brings all kind of benefits, where the integration really comes together in handy. I will be later showcasing some of those aspects when we come to the live demo part. Now, the key thing I want to get into is the white labeling, and that's really very different from what any of the other vendors out there do. And that's why we're doing a deep dive on this aspect. So you may be wondering, why haven't you heard about the brand Plasma Cloud, as you may have heard about many other popular Wi-Fi brands out there? And the reason is that Plasma Cloud does not advertise its own brand in a way that other typical Wi-Fi vendors do. We produce the hardware as a white label solution so that you, or like our customers, can put their label onto it, their brand onto it. We will provide the technology, we'll power these networks, we provide the hardware, but it will have your brands on this. When you talk to your customers, you can go out and say, this is your stuff. This is our secret sauce. And this is why we don't even want that Plasma Cloud as a brand becomes too known out there, because we want to make it as easy as possible for our customer base to own the Plasma Cloud hardware and rebrand it as your own. So unlike many of the other Wi-Fi vendors, we do not go out and advertise ourselves as, hey, we're Plasma Cloud, and we don't put our stickers everywhere. We don't run advertising campaigns to end consumers. We mainly focus on working with installers, system integrators, ISPs, Wi-Fi ISPs that need and want rebrandable hardware with their own logo on it. So how does this look like? We offer a whole range of options to put your brand on there. It depends basically where you see yourself, where you see your business requirements, and how far you want to go with the rebranding. I will be going through this in detail, but in a nutshell, it goes, we have a section of hardware rebrandability options and software rebrandability options. And they go from easy to hard, depending on, how, as I said, how far you're willing to go and what your business requirements are. So the easiest and most important starting point, where Plasma Cloud is very different from any other vendor out there, is when you buy our products directly off our distributors, for example, Streakwave, and you get them shipped to you, you will notice that the packaging doesn't come branded. As you can see on the screen, it's just a brown box. And the hardware is not branded itself. So the devices come in a very neutral looking casing with no logo on it, nothing. That's just our default offering. So that's just the base point. So no extra steps are needed. You can just go to Streakwave and you get unbranded hardware that looks very generic on purpose to not catch anyone's attention when it's installed, so that when you install it, there is no question what brand it is or where it's coming from. It will look like your own. Of course, at this point, if you want to go one step further, you could add your own logo to the packaging and to the hardware to go a step further than having just unbranded products installed at your customers' venues. That could go different ways. So the easy way is you just print stickers on your own. Like if you have a small volume, the easiest is just to print a bunch of stickers and add them on top if that is of value to you. Or you contact us, we can also do various rebranding options on top of the hardware, right in the factory. But as you probably can imagine, that only makes sense with certain volumes, because then we have to build it that way and then ship it to you. But that is an option. If you're interested in that, please do contact us. We can take this further. We decide what makes sense and what the best option is on a case-by-case basis, and we're happy to have these discussions and help you guide through the various options and make the decisions along the way. Now, what's probably more interesting than the hardware options, because the hardware in most cases just installed somewhere, and if it's in a white casing installed inside a storage room where the switches are, or access points mounted to the ceiling, it's not often that people will notice this type of hardware and check what the branding is. So what's more of interest is the software rebranding. And again, I will be talking through various options, and we go from the easy to more challenging options. So first we were talking about the rebranded console, and that is also what I will demo for a few minutes to just give you an idea of what that really means. If you haven't used Plasma Cloud before, we have a Plasma Cloud console. It's our web interface, if you will, that allows you to monitor and manage all your networks, all your devices, wherever they may be installed. That's basically your command and control center for the hardware and networks that are deployed. The Plasma Cloud console can be run on a standard desktop, but also on mobile devices and tablets. It supports a whole range of different screen sizes and is therefore very, very flexible. And one key aspect of the Plasma Cloud console is that it was built with rebrandability in mind. So you can basically go in and say, I want the Plasma Cloud console rebranded for ourselves, for our own use case. That will give you a rebranded cloud portal that you have access to, and you can give your customers access to. It will come with a mobile app that is using your brand, and it will also come with branded notifications that are typically quite handy when you're managing a whole host of different networks in different locations. That will inform you about things that are going on in your network. And if you want to expose these notifications directly to your customers for one reason or another, then it's very handy if those notifications will be branded with your own brand, so that they appear to be coming directly from you, and customers know it's coming from you, and they will then reach out to you in case there are questions, and they know that you are taking care of everything. And on top of that, as icing on the cake, all of this is hosted by Plasma Cloud. So that's why this is the easy option. All you need is to decide what is the domain you want to host this rebranded console on. You need to have your logos ready. You have to choose your colors. And then all of this needs to be put in so that we spin up a dedicated instance of the rebranded console for you, and that's it. So it's a matter of hours that this is up and running. It's all fully automated on our side, and then you have your rebranded console, and you can start using it right away. There are no restrictions in terms of number of access points or number of users on this rebranded console, and there's no development effort. So you don't need any developers understanding or doing anything. This is just ready to go. And I will be demoing this in a few minutes, so you have a better idea what this looks like. So it's a bit less theoretical, but that is the easy option when it comes to rebranding Plasma Cloud. You could just go with the unbranded hardware that's easy to come by from distributors like Streakwave, and you combine it with a rebranded console that runs on your domain with your logo, your colors, and off you go. You have your own solution, and you will market yourself, promote your own brand instead of promoting a third-party brand. Now, on top of that, we offer API access for those that are interested and have the capability to go to the next level. That API access, of course, is a developer option. We have various ways of helping you to make this easy, but still it requires effort on your side. But maybe it is not an issue. Maybe that's the perfect solution you were looking for anyway, because you were looking for API access in combination with rebrandable hardware that you can then brand as your own. So let me quickly walk you through what is doable with the API access on Plasma Cloud. I will start with the obvious steps. You could build your own mobile app. Of course, you can check out, and I encourage you to check out the Plasma Cloud app. But the Plasma Cloud mobile app, of course, is designed for a very particular use case. And the use case is installing access points and switches in a very efficient, easy way, and installing lots and lots of them in different locations. And that may not be the use case you have in mind for the business case that you are servicing in your market. So API access allows you to build a mobile app very much dedicated to the use case that you have in mind. And again, branded under your own, you have full control. We provide the hardware and the cloud platform, and you can build on top whatever you like the app to do. Now, of course, with API access, you can also build or enhance, if you already have one, your own dashboard. We do have customers, and maybe that applies to you as well, that already have their own management or control platform where they integrate hardware from different vendors or even different kinds of hardware from different vendors. And they like to have that under their own platform. And they have a development engineering team ready to talk to our APIs, to get the data, push settings back, and then have that built into their system. So that, of course, is very possible with our API access. And then it allows you to build a very flexible dashboard system. Now, we have customers that are interested in building very sophisticated reports. That is because their business requires them to provide reports to their customers. And they want to report all kinds of things, from usage statistics to incident reports, and everything in between. API access allows you to build whatever reports you like and fetch all the data you like and automate this in any way you like. And of course, rebrand this as your own reports as you're integrating with Plasma Cloud. Another use case that we often come across is customers that want to build their own monitoring applications on top of Wi-Fi and or switches, or a combination of both. And for that, they want to have access to very specific APIs, specific information that's available on the hardware. And then they build a tool or a product as a whole and sell that to customers. And that is what the API, again, allows you to do, and you have full control over the branding at the end of this. Of course, you can also integrate that into billing. And as you see, the list of options you have are nearly endless. It just depends on where you want to go with your product and your requirements. In some cases, customer support needs special access to networks or to customer networks. All of that could be built into your product if you're interested in customer support, enhanced customer support. In some cases, we're also working with customers that have even more innovative ideas, way outside the box. And they have their own products that they're building somewhere, and they want to integrate that with our APIs and our cloud platform. We're ready to do that. We're here as a cloud partner, and that's how we would like you to see us in that space. Now, let me give you a demo of our rebranded console. So it's not all dry and slides here. So I hope that's coming through here for everyone. So even for those that are not live here and maybe later watching the video, this demo is online. It's available on our website. If you go to plasmacloud.com, you find a demo button here on the very right, and there you find the links to the Plasma Cloud console demo. That's the standard demo and the rebranded demo. The username and password are just demo, and it's also written here on the page, and that will lead you to this rebranded console. And as you can see, the URL here is console.mybrandname.com. That's just a URL that we've picked to show you that the domain this runs under is totally up to you. You can pick it and you let us know what domain you want us to be reachable under. And then you can provide us with a logo here on the left-hand side. This will feature your logo. This will feature your brand name right here. And the colors, like this dark blue that we've chosen here, are also up for you choosing. The whole bunch of colors that you can pick for different items on the console, so that it matches your branding colors, so that when a customer of yours looks at this and sees your logo and sees your colors, it's like, okay, this is your product. And for those who have seen the Plasma Cloud console before, this may look all very familiar. For those who haven't, this is just a standard view of seeing the access points in your network. Here on the top right, you can group networks in organizations. These are just lists of networks that you can group in any meaningful way as you see fit. On this demo, we have right now a collection of 3 different networks. These are actual customer networks that we took a snapshot of and put into this sandbox demo that you can just browse around in. No worries, nothing can be broken here because it's a sandbox system. Settings cannot be saved, obviously, but it gives you a good idea of what the console can do and what powerful features it comes with. So here you could cycle through the various networks and see what they're like. So right now, I'm on the demo home network, which is a network, as the name suggests, in a home of a high-end user with 3 access points. It's a fairly large home. We also have an apartment building complex and a school that's based off in Europe. And so when you switch the network, it will just load the access point list. You can see there are various access points in this network. There's traffic, which mostly happens during the day, which because it is a school, so you can see the school is mainly active during school hours. And I think one of the interesting features you can, or I always start with when looking at a network, and I don't know that network particularly well, is our layer 2 topology. That is a feature that allows you to see the network topology in a given network. And this topology is automatically gathered from information as it is available in the network. Of course, you will see the network, the access point and switches that are part of this network as you have added them to the network, but they also report what they're seeing in the network on the wire and on the wireless. So for example, this device here is what all these access points are connected to, but this is not a Plasma Cloud device. This is a Hewlett-Packard switch, most likely, that is operating in this network. Yeah, so right now the MAC address is obfuscated here because it's a public demo. But in your own network, you would see the full MAC address and it would try to guess what kind of device this is. So that gives you a pretty good starting point of how your network is wired together. And if we switch to a different network here, the home network, we can see that in that network, Plasma Cloud switches are being used, and those switches are then wired together to a common switch, which is most likely then wired to an uplink router, which we don't see here because none of the Plasma Cloud APs is directly connected to it. But we also see here that the Plasma Cloud switch is able to detect a laptop or a PC that is connected to the switch directly via cable. So it gives you a pretty good starting point of how your network is wired. And as the wiring changes, this topology will update automatically. So it gives you a pretty good starting point of what your network looks like. The key point here again to emphasize is that the console is your key command and control center, but you can give your customers access to this console by sharing access to networks, so on the network level or on the organization level, depending on what your agreements are with your customer. And you can give them different access permissions, just from ranging from view permissions to modify permissions and even delete permissions. Again, you have to decide what makes most sense and what works well under your circumstances. But the key point here for this today's demonstration is that to these customers, it will look like it's your own console, your own product. Nowhere it says Plasma Cloud on here. It will be your brand that the customer is exposed to. Let me quickly check the time. Okay, so we're 35 minutes into the presentation. I could easily go into more detail. What I quickly want to show here is when the customer logs into, if you decide to share access to a network or a console, is again your login. In this case, the login is just demo, but later the customer would log in with his credentials here. But it would be your logo being exposed, so the customer has that feeling of logging into your system. Of course, we have a whole range of settings that, if there are questions, I'm happy to go into that allow you to control various aspects of your network, from network settings, SSIDs, splash pages, VLANs, and so on and so forth. I could probably do a whole webinar just talking about different features and different aspects of this. But I wanted to give everybody a chance to steer the conversation into a direction that is most useful at this point. So I'm wondering, Benji, do we have any questions so far that we could go into rather than be
Yeah,
monologue.
there is a question here. Now, the initials OV, so I might actually see if OV wants to ask the question. So
Yeah,
um
please.
you did have a question, which with branded console will the plasma console also be available? Um OV, I if you want to elaborate or get deeper into that, you can unmute and ask that question if you want. But Marek, you see that the question. So with branded console, with the plasma console, with branded console, will the plasma console also be available?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure. Ov, if you're around, feel free um, to provide more background on that question. Essentially, the rebranded console is the Plasma Cloud console. It's the same thing. It's what we will do is we host a instance for you under your domain and your branding, basically. But it is the Plasma Cloud console. And we will also provide updates. So whenever our primary console is being updated, whether it be for new features or bug fixes, security fixes, rebranded consoles will also be updated automatically. So other than the branding, the Plasma Cloud console and the rebranded console are exactly the same thing. And we will take care of making sure it remains the same thing also into the future with these updates that we will take care of. So that's nothing you have to worry about. We will do all of these things for you. I hope I addressed the question. If not, Obi, feel free to jump in here and clarify. Yeah, but it's a good question, and maybe that's a detail that often gets lost. That it's the similarities of these two consoles. It's mainly the branding. No, it's only the branding, not mainly. It's only the branding. Everything else is it's the same.
I'm kind of making it so this is more like an open mic, and I think the idea is to enable discussion.
Yeah.
You can type the question if you want, if you have a question, or you can chime in there with a question by unmuting yourself if you want. It's one of those that we want to create some engagement and discussion about it. I know that, Marek, one of the things that you talked about was the ability for white labeling. Maybe in like 3 or 4 minutes, why is white labeling important to you guys? Like, why are you providing this product in such a way for your customers?
Yeah, that's a great question. In 3 to 4 minutes, I try to. That's a challenge. I try to keep it brief. So the key idea is that in today's Wi-Fi cloud managed landscape, all of the companies out there that provide Wi-Fi solutions put their brand first. And we all got so used to it that we accept that we have to buy somebody's brand and then go to our customers as an installer or as a Wi-Fi ISP and say, okay, I provide you this solution, but I will install you this third-party brand that I'm exposing here instead of having my own solution. So I'm basically telling my customers that I'm buying this third-party solution, which puts me in a very vulnerable spot because customers now have, or my customer, the end consumer, now has the opportunity to just go on the internet and look up whatever information they want about this Wi-Fi brand, whether it be pricing on the hardware or it's finding somebody else who offers the same management service or seemingly the same. Maybe you offer some special thing, but it's not obvious to your customers. So they will just look after the brand. They will search for the Wi-Fi brand. We're having some background noise here. Maybe it's better if wherever this noise is coming from, that you mute
I got
yourself.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. I just didn't want to make it harder for those watching the video later to struggle with my with me talking and somebody else talking. Yeah. So it's this difficult spot that we all got used to be in as an installer and system integrator, that we have to promote somebody else's brand in order to make business instead of promoting ourselves. Whereas if you promote yourself, you don't need to worry that your customer or your potential customer will go out and try to replace you, because there is no easy way to replace you. Because there is just you, and there are not hundreds of other sources of buying or purchasing that hardware or even managing that hardware.
Sure.
Yeah, well, I hope I kept it short.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. So what I get out of it, and partly because I know a little bit about you guys, is that you actually value the brand positioning your customers will have with your products and allowing them to provide better customer service. It is what I know is what you're trying to do. OV has another question, and maybe we're going to answer this, or we're going to discuss this one right here. I'll read it for you, Marek, so that you can respond to it. Thanks. So OV's question is, in branded console, can each network be configured to send outage alerts to specified email addresses for that network and copy us? So
yes, okay. I think I get the question. Yeah. Yeah, the answer is yes. So how notifications work, I'm not sure I will be able to demo this on the demo here, because I don't think it works. How this works is each network and organization has a level of permissions, and some of these permissions are access permissions, as I mentioned before, like view permissions, modify, delete, and there is the notification permission. So and everything, this notification permission is the magic sauce here. So an owner, so the person who created a network or an organization, will always have full permission. That means it can always do everything, and the owner will also receive all of the notifications. Now, if another user wants to receive notifications, then you can just go into the permission management, which I cannot demo here on this demo right now. And there you have the option to grant notification permissions. And that is what controls the notifications. So if you grant these notification permissions, then that user will receive all of the notifications on that network. Or if you grant the permissions on an organization, the user will receive all the notifications affecting all of the networks that are part of the organization. So the two levels that you can manage this on. And if you disable that permission, then notifications are not shared with this user. So basically you can include as many users as you want in these permissions by sharing these permissions, or retracting the permissions if for some reason you decide you no longer want to share these type of notifications with that user.
Yeah. Okay. Well, OV, I hope that answered your question. Look, if there's any more questions, we're going to give you guys a few more seconds here, or a few more minutes, but are there any more questions? If there are, type them in there, or just yeah, go ahead, Nick. I see your hand raised.
Yeah, I was just wondering, Marek, if you could explain to us maybe a use case with a particular customer who's a favorite of yours in terms of how they've taken aspects of the white label and the API functions to create a solution that you think that, you know, without naming them, of course, but you think, hey, that sounds like, you know, that's why we're here in the first place. Anything inspiration?
Inspiration, yes. Yeah, great question. So we have different customers on the white label side. I will pick a few. So one customer is a Wi-Fi ISP. So they are providing internet access as a service in apartment complexes, and they so they go into entire apartment complexes, wiring the building, installing switches, and also installing access points throughout the building to provide internet access. And they taking this white label approach to a very extreme end, I would say. So they are very interested in having all the unbranded hardware, of course, because they go out and they say, okay, this is our hardware solution, which makes them very difficult to replace on the hardware side and very difficult to research pricing and so on and so forth. It gives them a lot of protection there. And on top of that, they're integrating on the API level with their customer sign-up system. So when a customer in a particular apartment signs up, then the customer, you know, gives their name and details, and then the customer can, during the sign-up process, say, oh, I live in this and this apartment, and I want a certain SSID with a password being created, and all of that is then automated. And the SSID and password credentials are created on the spot using the API integration. And that gives the customer the ultimate perception that the Wi-Fi ISP is in control of everything via an intricate system that they don't really, the customer doesn't need to see and understand, but it gives them a comprehensive impression where the customer only interacts with the service and everything is automated and integrated and looks like the Wi-Fi ISP has built everything, whereas we provide most of the technology in the background at that point. Another typical white label use case are hotels for us. So we're working with a range of system integrators that install Wi-Fi access points, mainly Wi-Fi access points for hotel chains in North America, in Canada also. And they are providing Wi-Fi as a service as a whole. Again, even having contact cards put into the hotels. So whenever there's a problem with the Wi-Fi, you know, they have little cards on there with their phone number, call this number, and they have a support team that supports the hotels, and so the hotels don't have to do anything with the Wi-Fi, and they provide that to users. Of course, they have splash pages that are then branded accordingly. And what's interesting there is that the hotels themselves, they also have access to the networks because there are special circumstances where that is necessary. So these system integrators then share access to certain networks. Sometimes it's view only, sometimes some limited modification permissions if they want to create SSIDs for conferences in certain hotel areas. And then again, everything is branded under the system integrator name. So to the hotels that they're servicing, everything looks like it's owned and operated by the system integrator, which puts them in a very good spot, and they love us for that because it gives them a unique offering on that end that they can make to their customers, which they almost can't do anywhere else. I think these are two of the very typical use cases where I would say white labeling really makes the difference to them.
Thank you, Marek. We're gonna go with one more question. We are reaching the top of the hour, and I wanted to just give Marek and you guys back part of your day. Hafiz has a few questions. So Marek, is there support for Radius or Active Directory for user management and access control? And then is there support for captive portals? And is there support for private PSKs? And I apologize, I don't know what PSK means. So
yeah, private shared keys. Yes, the answer is yes. So on Plasma Cloud, you can create SSIDs, and those SSIDs are what gives you all of what you just asked for. Maybe to go a bit on a tangent here, on Plasma Cloud, you can create as many SIDs as you want, so then it's not limited. And you can assign special SSIDs or specific SIDs to specific devices. This is particularly handy, for example, in the use case I just mentioned in hotels that have conference areas. You may want special SSIDs only in specific areas. And with Plasma Cloud, you can push specific SSIDs to specific devices. But coming back to the question, so on these SSIDs, you can configure access control. One is on the authentication side, that would be WPA password or WPA enterprise. WPA password means a shared key, basically a password that is available to everyone. That provides some level of security, but probably not the best level of security. But then you can configure that password right here. And for a more advanced setup, you can go with WPA Enterprise, and that is what you can connect to a radio server. And that radio server then has usernames and passwords for individual users. So instead of having a commonly shared password, you have passwords for different users that you can then manage on that radio server. That is one way to go about this. That is actually the most secure way, because that allows you to encrypt your networks to make them safe from spoofing. We also have splash pages built into the SSIDs. So right below the authentication, you have the splash page option. You can either create splash pages right here on the Plasma Cloud console. These splash pages are basic click-through splash pages that allow you to build simple marketing pieces saying, hey, welcome to our lodge, welcome to our coffee shop. You can use our Wi-Fi here, and then there is a simple OK button, or you may have terms of services that you want to display there. Those splash pages are built in to Plasma Cloud, and you can configure that right here and also activate that. Or you can do sophisticated splash page authentication also with Radius backend or other backends that we support. I don't want to spend too much time on this. If you're interested in these topics, please do reach out to us. This gets very, very specialized here. So you can either reach us on support.plasmacloud.com. You can raise a support ticket with us, or you can reach out to the folks at Streakwave. I'm also reading the tickets on support systems, so you can also just open a ticket and address them to me, and I will go back and reply to you directly if you have special questions like that. But yes, in general, the short answer is yes, we support both. And there's lots and lots to say, but I don't want to exceed today's frame here.
Well,